Hi, and welcome to question 1-20 of chapter 1. So the question says to let g of x, the function g of x, equal 2 for x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 3. 3 for x is greater than 3. Notice it's not greater than or equal to 3. And when x is less than or equal to 5. And 7 for when x is greater than 5 and less than or equal to 8. So let's get right to it. The part A of this question asks you to sketch a graph of g of x and explain whether or not this function is continuous. So let's start with part A. So to sketch this graph, the meaning of g of x equals 2 is basically a line, a horizontal line at y equals 2. Okay, so you can treat g of x like your y value, and obviously when it's just a number, when y equals just a number, you know it's going to be a horizontal line. So in all three of these cases, it's a horizontal line at different parts of the coordinate grid. So for the first let's draw the grid, and we can just go in increments of 1. Okay, and then here we need to go up to 7. Okay, so we know from x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 3. So this area right here, g of x is 2. So we find 2, you make a closed circle right here at 2 because it includes the value 2, because it's, right here at 0, at x equals 0, because when x is greater than or equal to 0, this line right here is defined, okay? So you need to make this a closed circle. So you make a closed circle at 0, meaning that the 0 is included, and you make a closed circle at 3 comma 2, because the y value is still 2 since it's a line, and then you simply connect the dots to make your line. And then for when g of x is equal to 3, for x is greater than 3 and less than or equal to 5, you know that you'll start here at the y value of 3, but now notice it's not when x is greater than or equal to 3, it's simply when x is greater than 3. So you want to draw an open circle here at y equals 3 and at x equals 3. The point 3 comma 3 has an open circle, and obviously g of x is equal to 3 is defined from 3 to 5, but notice the 5 is included because it's less than or equal to 5. So you want to draw a closed circle at 5 comma 3, connect the dots. That will give you your second line. And then when g of x is equal to 7, it is from 5 to 8. The 5 is not included, so let's draw another open circle here at 5 comma 7, the y value, and then a closed circle at 8 comma 7, and connect the two dots. Okay, so the next part of this question asks whether or not the function is continuous, and we can clearly determine that the function is not continuous just by using our first first definition of continuity that we learned in the first few weeks of school. You have to lift up your pen to continue drawing this function. So obviously it is not continuous. Since we are only in chapter 1, we'll let that be our definition of continuity for now. So moving on to part B, which asks us to shade the area between g of x, our function, and the x-axis, and to find the area from 0 to 8 of our function. So let's go ahead and shade it up here on this graph. And you'll notice that we get 3 rectangles right here, so it shouldn't be too hard to calculate the area. Here's the first, here's the second, and here's the third. So to find the area, which we can represent like this, the area from 0 to 8 of this function g, including 0, including 8, equals, and as you can plainly see, it's going to be the area of this rectangle plus the area of this rectangle plus the area of this rectangle. So to find the area of each rectangle, simply take the base times the height, and for the first one, that is obviously 3 times 2, so 3 times 2 plus the area of this rectangle, which is also 3 times 2, plus the area of this final rectangle, which is actually 7 units high times 3 units wide. And then when you do these calculations, you get 6 plus 6 plus 21, which is 12 plus 21, which gives you 33 units squared. And remember to include the units in your answer, which we're not given in this problem, but you can just write units. You must write units, and to make the units squared when you're dealing with problems that concern area. Remember not to make the units cubed, because making the units cubed is exclusively for problems with that deal with volume. Okay, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.